Kenny here with Gardening Simplified. It's October 9th and let's do a garden tour. Since I'm here at the top of the garden, we'll just start out at the top. We've got our compost bin has been removed. We got a pile of compost. We're going to move this to another garden spot. Our potatoes are doing good. They're kind of sparse in here, and that's because we hadn't been watering them. I've been watering them recently, and it's kind of helped out as far as encourage them to take off. You can see that we have some like this one right here that's just beginning to pop the top. It probably won't make, but I'll keep overhead watering them. I've been watching too, where as you can see, I snapped the flowers off. We're not trying to produce any seed. When I come down here and I see these flowers, I just pop them off. I don't know how much difference it makes in producing bigger potatoes or faster, but let's not use the energy for all those other purposes. But they're doing okay. We've got 3 different types in here. It looks like the Kennebecs that's over here are doing better. At least they're doing real good. Our squash is looking pitiful. Now, a lot of this, it's not long like these little ones here. I'm gonna come in and cut them out. We took a row of cucumbers out today. That's why the seed is still sitting here. We put in some early peas. You might not call them early peas where you're at. You might call them English peas or green peas or whatever. But that's what we planted here. And some of these squash are really still producing. This one produces a lot of squash, but they don't fill out. They're always long and whatever. So something with the seed, but we don't care. They taste good. We've got this row of national cucumbers, national pickling cucumber. Wanted to see how they do. I did see that the cucumber is darker. I've got one inside. There's still just a few of them trying to come on, but as cold as it's getting, and you can see right here we've got some pest going on to it. So most of these will be taken up and out. Now, since our last video, we've been getting some of our leek in the ground. Right here, we've got a little bit of cabbage here. This is early Jersey, I believe. Got part of a row. Over here, back to this one, we've got some Detroit dark beets, and then we've got some Detroit golden beets. Most of them's golden. I tend to like them better. And being I'm planting the seed, that's what ends up in the ground. Over on this row, we've got some 1015Y. This is a onion that we grow a lot in the South. Now, you plant your onions. Now, we plant our onions normally. The 1015Y is October 15th. That's normally when that's planted. Now, I'm a little bit early getting them in the ground, but they'll do fine. They won't bolt or anything. Right here, we've got some Green Magic broccoli. Yeah, I always like the Green Magic broccoli. It does good. It's good and tasty, nice and tender. So it's good for if you like it raw or otherwise. But yeah, I did a bunch of fertilizing today too on the beets and the broccoli. And did some fertilizing on the leek. Now we've been harvesting a few of these leek. They're really not going to be too big, but they are what they are. And over here, we've got some more leek, just part of a row. We put it over here. A lot of the transplants died. We didn't water them real good. I kind of make the okra fend for itself, but it really would have done better with water. But I wanted to go down here. This is a cowhorn. I just planted this really late, and I knew it was going to be late. But I wanted to see production-wise how it did, because they say it starts producing really young. And this plant here is maybe 18 inches tall, but you can see it's already bloomed and set of okra about a foot from the ground. So, and we've got some others over here too that are they're setting their blooms. So if they had the heat of the summer, and here's another one fixing to open up. But if they had the heat of the summer, they would really start taking off. Now a lot of the peppers, they're really suffering. But like my yellow scorpion, they're finally getting some peppers on them. The habaneros are they're having a rough time. They're losing a bunch of leaves, and you can see it starts to sun scald these a little bit, so they're not quite as pretty. The flavors is good, but there's not quite as pretty. Now, if you was going to save seeds from a plant, you would save seeds from like this plant here. If you can see how much healthier the leaves are on it versus all these others. Now those are down here are orange habaneros, and these are red habaneros up here, which they'll turn orange first. A lot of people want to confuse these with Scotch bonnets, because this red one does have, it will form pepper just like a Scotch bonnet, but it is a red habanero. But you see this one here is blooming good still. There's lots of little blooms on it. So if you were going to save seeds because you wanted to grow another plant, you would always be selective and pick your best one, or that has traits to be the best. This is our row of Diva Cucumbers. These are ready to come out. They're we have to decide what we're going to plant there. I don't know that we've got anything else that's going to be trellising, so we'll probably pull the trellis out, and we could use this for an onion bed or something like that. The peppers are still hanging in. They are kind of droopy. They're not as bad droopy since I've been overhead watering, but they're still having a rough time. Over here we have a few white onions, and then we have our red onions, this bed here, and they're doing real well. We've been losing occasional pepper plant. That one needs cut out. And a lot of that's either root rot or, I think it's more of a root rot or something to do with a root infection versus nematodes. But anyway, we have a new batch of basil here. We put it in. Now our green beans are in full production mode right now. We just picked our first batch off these 3 rows, and we barely got enough that we might, between the two of us, get a small taste, but not really. It's really enough for one person if you like green beans. And these here, keep doing follow-up. These are the cayennes that we did the video back earlier in the year, the ones that were real leggy and stuff. They're still hanging in there. They're still producing good. We picked these Friday, so there's not a whole lot of color on them, and they'll start getting colored up again by next weekend. Now here we've got some more basil. I had some extra plants left, so I put them in this spot where we had the sunflowers. And we've got a good bit of dill right here. And then some curly leaf parsley that we mixed in there where we had some of the smaller, weaker dill that died. And we've got occasional asparagus coming out, taking over this. We've got them over here, and we've had a nice selection of Monarch Butterflies flying around to the cone flowers, even though they're kind of playing out the Butterflies are liking them, so we've been leaving them. This deal here was self-seeded. The deal that was here went to seed, and I didn't really pull it out. Well, it got in there clumped up pretty good, and so we just left it, and we'll harvest it too. Asparagus, it's asparagus gone wild, I guess what we'll call that. Our rosemary is it's doing pretty good. We put it in the ground. Hopefully we won't lose it this year. Our chives have put seed tops all over. Now I haven't saved any seeds off of these. We had to pull out in the corner here our thyme, which it died. So we got rid of it. In the little greenhouse, it's mostly trees, and we're going to do an update here on our single seed challenge. And this is it right here, single seed, the grapefruit that we've grown from a seed. And as you can see, it's growing up here, and it's better than 2 foot tall now. I hadn't put a tape to it, but I can tell you it's better than 2 foot tall. And then we have our air rooted or air layered lemons. And this over here is, let's see, these are some more of the air rooted lemons. We have some onions, and I need to get some nitrogen into these. These are really getting pale. They've been in here too long. They need to be gotten into the ground. I have some more 10, 15 Ys that needs out. Now I have some white granos. These I don't really care if I have to. If I have a spot, I'll put them out. And these other leek, I think I've got plenty of leek in the ground too. Those are just extras. Now I lost my other little transplants from my Georgia collard, so I had to start some new ones. These here were started about the end of last month, so they're not very old, but they're coming on strong. And we got our celery here. It's doing good. It needs make sure it's thinned out, so we'll keep the healthier plants and get these in the ground. Last time we put them in the ground when they were really small like this, and they did just fine. And here's some more that citrus that we've been growing from seed. We've got them all in here. Let's see, back over here. Now this row here is some yellow granos. I believe this might be white granos. It is the white granos right there. And this row here is garlic, but there's a little bit of leek at the end of it. But we've got all our elephant garlic planted, which we did a video on it, and we've got our other types of garlic that we had planted on down there. It won't be hard to tell them apart. Now our bell peppers. Now this variety here, and it's DOS something, I don't remember, but I'm not going to plant it next year. It takes up space. I can't never get the larger peppers like it should produce, and so I'm not going to plant it next year. It probably would help if I fertilized and did better watering. Our oregano is doing great in this one. Now the oregano that was in this basket or this container has died out, and this thyme was in this this thing had died out. It didn't get taken care of like it should have. We had one of our potatoes come up here. There definitely was one left. Now our sage is doing great. We need to get to this and get this all dehydrated so we can save it. The greenhouse, our peppers are still doing kind of fine over here. Or some of them are. They're more leggy than they would be. And we've got turnips here, and then we got just a little space, and then we've got mustard greens. Now our tomatoes, we didn't we didn't have very good luck with our tomatoes. These plants should be way bigger. This one here, I believe, is a Cherokee Purple, so we'll see. Maybe we'll get a tomato before it gets bad. The others over there are cherry tomatoes. We got 4 off of one today, first tomatoes, and oh, they're just so good. These squash plants in here, a lot of these are going to come out that you can see that powdery mildew, and I said I wasn't going to mess with them. I just let them go ahead and die out because I want to change this up. I don't know if I'm going to do lettuce or do carrots in here again or something. We'll just have to see. But the peppers, these poblanos, they're just 8-9 feet tall, but they're real spindly because the shade cloth. That when you cut 40% of the light off, plants tend to want to start stretching up to get to it. Now in here I have look like I got not so much of a friend down in right there. They got a yellow jacket, so I guess I better get some soapy water and spray those things. But we've stopped harvesting those right there, and the paprika peppers, I think we took the last that we was going to take to market. We're going to go ahead and pull these out. And probably come back in, and like I say, I don't know if it's going to be carrots or what's going to come in here. Now today we come out here and we got our radicchio in the ground, which is small transplants, but they don't do good in the cell trays. Not for me, because I don't, if I'd use liquid fertilizer, chemical fertilizer, it might be different. But just using water, and I don't never make the time to mix up some fish emulsion. But anyway, we got them in the ground. Got some organic fertilizer down there with them, so they ought to take off. And those of you that know my yellow double bubble or my white double bubble insulation, that means there's carrots seeds under there. We put those out today. And then the next row over, this row here is we put turnips on one side and mustard on the other side. So we'll have some more greens once these here play out, because these ones are probably about 3 weeks ahead. So by the time we get them and start harvesting them and bugs come in, we can get to the next ones. I guess I better show the pineapples here. The pineapples are not doing real good, and that's because now today was the first time we fertilized them. They need to be gotten in the ground, and we're going to do that, but it's definitely, at the rate we're going, we're not going to see any pineapples until the end of next year, I'm guessing. Peppers are doing pretty good. Some of the plants are suffering, except the ghost peppers. Now they've lost a lot of leaves. You can see all those leaves that's underneath there, but they've finally starting to produce peppers. I mean, they're loaded up, so hopefully I'll get enough that I can dehydrate some. And same thing with the Carolina Reapers. They're finally putting on a few. And of course our eggplant, now it's getting a little cooler, so the eggplant are getting a little larger. We still need to do some cleaning up down here. We're going to move our strawberries over. I'm not sure I'll put the pineapples in this bed or maybe in that one and part of this one. I've got a few rhubarb plants, and they're not doing good in their trays. They need to go in the ground. So we'll probably take and put them down there too, and hopefully they'll make it through the winter. I don't know. But anyway, the rest of the peppers here are doing good. Now the okra plants, I talked about taking them out. They're breaking their twine that's there. They've got so tall and stuff. And when it got wet, they really got curved and all misshaped, but they're still producing. She said, no, let's let them go. So, and our cilantro, it's doing good. It's, even though it's cool and we've been watering it every day, some of them's trying to bolt. So we've been trying to take care of that. Of course, we like to eat a lot of it, but this is quite a bit. So we're about to the point to where we're going to dehydrate or freeze dry some of this, and it's time to start another batch of seeds. That way we'll have some a little later on. But anyway, that's where we're sitting here in this second week in October. Won't be long, you know, next month, and hopefully more towards the end of next month, it's going to get cool. We'll probably get a frost, but we sure have enjoyed this growing season. Anyway, if you want to see more of my videos, well, just hit that subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell. Give it a big thumbs up and share this video. It really helps my channel. Happy gardening.